Hi, I'm Kevin Paul, psychic and medium. Join me on one of my mystical quickies. Today we're going to discover the beautiful National Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C. And then I'm going to talk about the difference between a psychic and a medium. Let's go. So join me for a quickie, an adventure, chat, and lesson. Welcome to the famous cherry blossoms at the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C. For over 100 years, the National Cherry Blossom Festival has been celebrated at this very location. And even though the trees arrived in 1912, the process of bringing them to DC took years. And it all started with the request from Eliza Skidmore in 1885 when she asked the city planners to plant flowering cherry trees along the Potomac River. But guess what? Her request was ignored. And you know what? She didn't give up. 24 years later, in 1909, Miss Eliza decided to raise the funds needed to purchase the cherry trees and donate them to the city. She took the bold step and wrote a letter to the wife of the U.S. President Taft outlining her plan, and she quickly heard back. First Lady Helen Taft was very interested, and by the end of that year, she was able to get 2,000 flowering trees donated from Japan as a gift of friendship between our countries. But within a few weeks of their arrival to DC, an inspection team from the Department of Agriculture discovered that the trees were diseased and infested with insects and nematodes. So, to protect American growers, the trees were destroyed in a big bonfire. The Japanese government was so embarrassed that 2 years later they sent 3,020 cherry trees of 12 different varieties, and this time, thank goodness, they all arrived healthy. The U.S. reciprocated the gesture by gifting flowering dogwood trees to Japan. In Japan, the flowering cherry tree, or sakura, is an important flowering plant. The beauty of the cherry blossom symbolizes both birth and death, violence and beauty, and they are a central motif in the Japanese worship of nature. So on March the 27th, 1912, a couple of cherry trees were planted here right around this man-made tidal basin. And it took them 7 more years before the entire tidal basin was planted with these beautiful flowering cherry trees. And believe it or not, a few of the original cherry trees are still alive today. The first Cherry Tree Blossom Festival was held in 1927, and now the annual spring celebration spans 4 weekends in March and April and attracts more than 1.5 million people from all around the world. So, for over 100 years, the National Cherry Blossom Festival has been celebrated at this very location, which we call the Tidal Basin. And it's a man-made reservoir located right off the Potomac River. It's about 107 acres in size, but only 10 feet deep. It was built in the 1870s to harness the power of the tides in the Potomac River to flush out the silt and sediment from the Washington Channel. So come join one of the most picturesque places in Washington, D.C., where you will find the Thomas Jefferson Memorial, the Martin Luther King Memorial, and the FDR Memorial nestled among the beautiful cherry trees of Japan. As I was walking around with the masses of people, I opened up to read the energy of this location. I was overwhelmed by the chaotic and conflicting emotions of way too many people. But without the crowd, I was made aware of the powerful energy of this space filled with the reverence of nature and of the special departed souls that are honored nearby. Today's topic is, what is the difference between a psychic and a medium? First of all, what is a psychic? A psychic is a person who can pick up on the past, present, and future of living people, as well as read the residual energy of an indoor or outdoor space or a home or even an object worn by someone. How is that possible? Well, a psychic receives the information through their psychic senses, like seeing an image in their mind, feeling an emotion, as well as sensing, hearing, or just knowing. And with a living person, the psychic is capable of picking up on a person's current or past emotions and experiences, their current concerns, hobbies, and even things that have happened in their past, including their life traumas. And are we always accurate? Well, we all wish we were 100% accurate, and that's our goal. But it's not always possible for a variety of reasons, which I'll talk about in a future episode. Do you have to be trained to be a psychic, or are you born a psychic? I feel we all have some psychic abilities, and a good example is intuition, your gut feeling, or you just know something before it happens. We all basically have it, but the difference is a professional psychic can use their abilities on demand, when for everyone else it's spontaneous. It just happens. And a common example is when you think about someone you haven't heard from in a long time, and then you receive a call or a text from them soon afterwards. Basically, you have received advanced information psychically. However, someone who wants to become a professional psychic should definitely be trained to understand how to do it on demand, the different techniques available, receive proper guidance on giving a reading, what not to do, what not to say, and so forth. And if you don't plan to be a professional psychic reader, you can still practice increasing your psychic abilities through lots of different techniques. What are the tools a psychic uses? Some use tarot cards like me. Others use a crystal ball, runes, tea leaves, or coffee grounds, palms, and more. And tools I think should be a jumping off point for the reader to tap into your energy. But you really don't need any tools to do a reading. In one of my schools, we read with a blindfold on, and the person receiving the reading couldn't say a word back to us until after the reading. Can psychics foretell the future? Yes, I think it's possible. For example, a psychic should be able to pick up on where you're headed in the future in regards to a question you might ask. But I caution sitters that you are in control, so if you don't like what the psychic may see for you in the future, you can pivot and make an effort to do something else. A great seer, Nostradamus, I am not, but I have been able to correctly predict the outcome of a couple of major events, as well as get advanced warnings that would affect me directly, like an attempted robbery and even a shooting incident at an event that I was at. So being psychic definitely has benefits for sure. Now, what is a medium? A medium is someone who can communicate with discarnate spirits, those who've passed. And mediums use the same abilities that a psychic would, from clairvoyance to clairaudience to clairsentience, which I'll talk about in detail in other episodes. The most popular form of mediumship is when a medium becomes the vehicle of communication between the spirit world and their living loved ones on earth. That means I will be the interviewer and translator for the past loved ones. And there are many different ways to do a mediumship reading, which will be different and a fascinating mystical quickie topic. But evidential mediumship is the best. It's a form of mediumship where the medium will provide specific facts and evidence of who the spirit was when they were alive, their personality, what was their connection to the living, what was their hobby, how did they die, and so forth. This is important information to help prove to the sitter and the medium that the medium is in contact with your past loved one. And after providing the evidence, and the sitter is confident you have their loved one, the medium will ask the spirit for a message or two for the sitter. The ultimate goal of evidential mediumship is to provide a reunion for the sitter and the spirit. Basically, paint them back to life, and it can be a very powerful and meaningful session. A quick fact: a medium has psychic abilities, but a psychic may not always have mediumship abilities. Mediumship takes training, practice, discipline, and coaching. In short, a psychic can read or pick up on the living, while a medium can pick up on those who have passed. Thank you for joining me on this mystical quickie, and I hope that this helps you understand the difference between a psychic and a medium, especially when you're looking for a reading for yourself. So until our next quickie, take care of yourself in mind, body, and spirit. So thank you for watching. Look for more of my mystical quickies on any of my social media sites. Subscribe and get alerts from my YouTube channel. Follow me on my Facebook or Instagram pages. So until our next mystical quickie together, take care of yourself in mind, body, and spirit.